Ladies and gentlemen, the Agricultural Secretary of the United States essentially announcing that the 34 million recipients of Medicaid will be made available to American farmers to use as cheap labor on their farms. You're welcome. Let's bring in our guest, John Boyd Jr. John Wesley Boyd Jr. is an African-American farmer, civil rights activist, and the founder of the National Black Farmers Association. He operates.
Listen to all this black. Listen to all this black, all this civil rights activist type stuff. You know it's not going to be positive. And on top of that, what is this? Well, I mean, goodness gracious, like why is it blonde? This lady is the most racist, one of the most outrightly racist people. But what black folks have blonde hair? Naturally, besides Aborigines. But let's see what this change is going to be about. My man sitting in a wicker chair. He don't even, oh my, he looks like a Neanderthal. He looked like that guy back in the day when they had the Neanderthals on the Geico commercial. That's what this guy looks like. I don't bash people. I'm not talking down on people. It's just observations and my opinion. So let's see.
The Boyd Farm, which has 1,500 acres across 3 farms in Baskerville, Virginia, where they grow soybeans, corn, wheat, and currently raises 150 herd of beef cattle. John Boyd Jr., thank you so much. Great to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me.
I want to get your response to that. You know, our history, our shared history, of course, Mr. Boyd, is that our ancestors were brought to this country not to own farms, but to work on them as slave labor. And replacing that cheap labor, once it was wrestled away from the Confederacy and other farms across the country via the Civil War, there's been this sort of endless quest to replace that farm labor with cheap labor. Right? And the cheap labor of note today is largely undocumented. And now what the Agricultural Secretary is saying is that they're going to swap that labor out for folks that get Medicaid. Your thought?
You know, and just take things to a whole different level here, you know? There's no way that those persons are going to do this kind of hard work. That's the first thing. Farming is the hardest occupation known to man. I just got off the tractor, and I'll be honest with that. I took a shower and changed my hat to come on this show with you, you know? And it's the hardest occupation known to man. It's hot outside today. It takes a special kind of individual to go out there and do this work day in and day out. And so if you think someone who's already has, I'm gonna use my grandmother's terminology, some sort of ailment, that you already have some difficulties, and you're going to come out here and do farm work, picking tomatoes and everything else.
That's not what
people. It's not going to work. The folks who are already here were the ones actually, doing the work in the first place. And first of all, to talk about what you spoke about, blacks are the ones that made tobacco gold and cotton king here. So let's go back and tell the whole history. And once we stopped doing it for free, they had a problem paying us, and the whole issue with land. The way black people got land in this country is because the money wouldn't spend in the South, the currency wouldn't spend, and they had states like Virginia and other had an opportunity to exchange the currency. They wouldn't do it, and they lost the money. And then they started selling land to blacks to stay on. That's how we got the land in the first place. And then after the 60s, they said, oh, okay, man, we want all this land back. And they used USDA and the county committee to get land back to steal land back legally. And my daddy would always say, they always use a legal way to outmaneuver black people in this country. So that's how they got rid of blacks in the first place. They didn't want to pay us, and black people say, you know what? I'm moving up south. I'm moving to Chicago or New York City, and I'm not doing this kind of work for free anymore. And then he brought the migrant workers in. And now they're saying they don't want them. They don't want them here. Anybody with some...
What they're saying is, you Democrats want slave labor. Democrats have always been in the business of slavery. They fought to keep slavery legal when black folks were the most enslaved. That's exactly what they're doing right now. They say it outright. He's saying it right now. Who's gonna pick the cotton? Who's gonna pick the fruits? Who's gonna pick the vegetables? They want a slave labor class. That's what they've stood on for so many years. So what they do is that they demonize what the Trump administration is doing with ICE and the deportations and things of that nature. Number one, the United States has the most, up to this point, has had the most lax policy as far as letting people from other countries into this country. Try just walking over the border going into Canada. Try just walking over the border going into Mexico. No. You will be detained in those countries. The United States lax policy was furthered by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. What those two basically did, they opened the border. They just said, nope, get their name and let them go. Let them come into this country. We don't give a fuck if they from prisons, if they're from insane asylums. You've had people come over the border during the Joe Biden administration that were documented in their country to be murderers, cartel leaders. I have to choose these words carefully. Child violate. A huge percentage of these people that they're catching have been child violators, which is like, that's just, oof. That's the holy grail. That's the holy grail. A child violator, in my opinion, is worse than a murderer. That's in my opinion. You're gonna take advantage, and anyway, I'm not gonna go into detail about that. So let's look at the racist blonde lady and a Neanderthal farmer activist guy.
Skin tone in this country, Jordan, they don't want you here. But they are bringing white farmers from South Africa, providing them with a fast path to citizenship. They're going to offer them homesteads and land out of federal inventory. The land that came from black people at USDA, if it's in inventory that came from USDA, it came from black people, black farmers like myself.
And this dude, why are most of your employees illegal immigrants though? You're sitting up here talking about this black stuff, but most of the people that you employ, again, it's not slavery in the aspect that we seen it years ago to where the slaves didn't get paid a penny. But if you can relate that to and equate that to what happens today, like the federal minimum wage is what, $7 and something or another. And then the states get to decide on what the on what their minimum wage is going to be. And then the individual businesses decide on what their minimum wage is going to be. I would venture to guess that if you get someone that's a legal citizen out there picking that shit, you're out in the sun, it's hot. That he ain't lying. That shit's hard. I ain't doing that shit. I guess if I had to, I would. But we would say the majority of people, period, probably wouldn't want to do that. But I guarantee you, if you take someone from a different country that was getting paid $1 an hour, you bring them over here, $10 an hour to them is fucking fantastic. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? As opposed to a normal American citizens to do backbreaking work like that, we gonna look for a minimum of 20. A minimum of $20 an hour to do that, and 20 to do that. And it's like, I mean, if you go by the laws and the work rules and things of that nature, you're not supposed to work more than 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, blah, blah, blah. One would venture to say that, yeah, it's going to take much more than that. It's going to take way more than that. Now, if you're an illegal alien, undocumented immigrant, like like they call it, they put soft words on it. There's no restrictions. I'm gonna give you $10 an hour and your ass gonna be out there until I say your ass not out there no more. And they can do that. And they don't want to adhere to that. Now, when you're running a business, I love capitalism. Capitalism says you work hard, you put in the time, you do what you gotta do, you're gonna get said results. The bad part of capitalism is shit like this. I would not want to get rid of capitalism. The bad part of capitalism is greedy people. If you have a business and you're following all the laws and work laws, labor relations, and all things like that, and you do 2% profit, okay, that's part of capitalism. At least you're getting 2% profit. But these greedy people, such as people like this guy, well, if I can do 2%, I can do 4%, I can do 5%, blah, blah, blah. You can, but you got to break the law to do so. And that's exactly what you're doing by employing these illegal immigrants. Illegal aliens is what we're gonna call them. We're not gonna put no fucking soft words on these people. When you cross the border, that's a crime. Anything you do beyond that, well, I mean, that's extra.
They're gonna give that land to white farmers and provide them with a fast path to citizenship. But they say they don't want anything, Joy, to do with race in this country. Or we want to do away with that. We don't want nothing to do with race. But they want to bring white farmers. I'm going to say it twice to your listeners understand what I'm saying. They want to bring white farmers in from South Africa that look like them and give them land and give them a fast path to citizenship. And anybody that has some skin tone and they classify them as immigrants, they're shipping them out of this country just as fast as they can.
And by the way, it sounds like they want to give, to your point, these Afrikaner farmers, if they're going to give them land, it sounds like they're also talking about giving them forced labor by force, essentially, because it doesn't sound like they're going to offer the opportunity for people who get Medicaid and who receive SNAP and who receive, Meals on Wheels, et cetera. It's not as if they're saying, well, no, this is an opportunity for you. It sounds to me like it would be compulsory. Like there is a desire, and I have said this before and sounded like a conspiracy theorist for saying all of these things go hand in hand. If you are trying to rapidly deport the specific ethnicity that makes up a bulk of farm workers and agricultural workers, you're going to need to replace those workers. And we just heard the Secretary of Agriculture say that there are going to be two sources of replacement labor. It's going to be automation. And so they're looking at using more automated labor, and you can talk about how effective that is on a farm like yours, but also forced labor provided by people in exchange for receiving food and medical assistance from the government. That, to me, sounds like slavery or indentured servitude.
Oh,
Is that what it sounds like to you?
No.
It's the bottom of the barrel. If I didn't describe it correctly enough for you, it's the bottom of the barrel. First of all, and I tapped on it, you have to have a certain level of skill set to do this kind of work. You have to know how to do it. I've been farming 42 years, fourth generation farmer. I just didn't show up out here and learn how to farm.
You have to have a certain skill set to pick the crop. I mean, what does that mean? Pick it from the root? Is that what you're saying? A certain skill set? You got to have a skill set to do anything. So what you're saying is not revealing it's not going to change the world. What you're saying, it's the lowest level of skills you need to have. Not to diminish any of it, because that shit's hard. I said previously, I don't want to be out there. I don't want to be out there in them fields doing all that shit. My favorite season is fall. My favorite season is fall. Not too hot where I live and not too cold. I don't like the heat. I don't like cold. That's just what it is. So therefore, I don't want to be out there in July. Where I live, the average temperature in July is 80 something degrees. And then you're out there, you have no trees, no nothing, just out there. The sun is chilling right here. I don't want to be out there doing that shit. What? I guarantee you got people that's prisoners that'll be out there doing that. Why aren't we using them? With the prison population in the United States, what it is, so many millions of people, most of them black. How about that? Neanderthal farmer guy. Oh, why don't we put them there? They would fucking jump at the chance to be outside doing that. They would love it, but no. Y'all need y'all slave labor.
I was taught how to farm by my daddy, John Boyd Sr., and my grandfather, Thomas Boyd, and my daddy called himself a master farmer. I said, Dad, what's a master farmer? He said, somebody who can produce the crop with no help from the government every year. That's a master farmer. So black people were master farmers, and they had the art and skill set of doing this work. And you're going to replace them with people who already have some challenges, people. And a lot of these people already have some challenges. And you're going to put them on a farm, and you're going to put them in 100-degree heat, like I just left out from, and they're going to be able to do this kind of work with all of the difficulties that they already have. And that's why they're on these programs.
That's just
because
dumb.
they have some sort of difficulty.
No, that's just not the case. That is not the case at all. What this dude's saying, I understand he wants to keep his cheap labor. So now what they're basically doing is they're going to take the Medicaid away and say, not take it away, they're going to reduce it and say that you got to work. And they're not even demanding a full work week. What is it? You got to work like 2 weeks a month? When normal people, we work 40 plus a week. We work 160 plus hours a week. If some of your benefits, Medicaid, SNAP, this, that, and the other, they're only demanding that you work, what, 1/4 of that? 40 hours a month? I mean, okay. 40 hours a month. No matter how you extrapolate that, that's what, 10 hours a week? Are you kidding me? 10 hours a week? And you can continue to get those benefits? No. I'm the type of person, I only want what's coming to me. I don't want any extra this, that, and the other. I don't need all that shit, right? Because part of the scrutiny when you're in those programs, you got to give them all your information. You got all this shit, blah, 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 blah. I don't need any of that. But I don't even qualify. I can't even get $20 a month. I tried it probably like maybe 10 years ago. I was like, look, I'm gonna see if I can get something. If I can get $25, $35 a month in food stamps, I'll do that. Nope. They said I made too much money. And I'm just your average 40-hour plus week citizen out here just working. And that's it. And I can't get that. But someone who has baby after baby after baby, they get food stamps. They get housing vouchers. They get car vouchers for doing fucking nothing. But you know what happens? Every paycheck I get, I see that tax get taken out like clockwork. That tax is taken out, that's a mafia move. They take that shit before you even see it. They take it before you even see that shit. Gangster shit.
A lot of people. So I said that not putting down the persons. I'm saying that because they're taking advantage of their situation, which they clearly have some problems because they are on these programs needing assistance in the first place. And you're going to put them on the farm and say, you know what? You're going to pick some oranges, you're going to pick some onions, and you're going to pick some tomatoes out here in Florida. The people who this administration is hurting, Joy, is the very people that voted for this president. Them white farmers.
No, it's not.
I don't have migrant labor on my farm. Everybody on my farm, looks like me, and we've been doing this work for a very, very long time. The people who are going to be hurting and those who are putting pressure on this administration are the very people who voted for him. 99% did, white farmers, voted for this president, and now they're chasing their help through the fields, shipping them out of here. So they're not hurting the black farmer, the guy who's already been out here, who's already scuffling. Black farmers already scuffling in this country. We're already facing hardships. For the first time, Joe, in decades, I have not received a farm operating loan in this country because of the tariffs imposed by this administration. And it took the prices so far down that lenders won't extend credit to me now because of the poor commodity prices. That's the first thing. And now they're picking on persons who can do the work. First of all, these people can do the work. I mean, let's tell it like it is. They have the art and skill set to do the work. They've been doing it, and they've been doing it with no problems. Now they're going to chase these people out of the country because they don't want it here, and they're not voting for them in mass numbers. That's what this is all about, people. This is about a targeted group of people that they want to run out of this country that has some skin tone that didn't.
Yeah, it's a targeted group of people, but it's not about skin tone, really. No, it just so happens that the majority of those people have a certain skin tone. So one would surmise that, well, yeah, that's the majority of the illegal people. Well, go after the majority of the illegal people. Just so happen to have that skin tone. So all this BS and this is right in Joy Reid's wheelhouse, which is why she brought this Neanderthal on to further her narrative that is race-based. Well, it is not race-based. It's not race-based. It's legal-based. If you like the video, dislike the video, comment on the video, share the video. Also, if you go to YouTube, we got some other things going over there. It's an info 5000. Peace.